Okay. Looks like it's going. There it is. Excellent. Now I can see it. Okay. Okay. Now let's see if anybody shows up. Looks like we have a few viewers already. And if anybody has any questions to start us off this evening, then go ahead. Seeing some people are watching. Maybe they're on YouTube. Let me double check. There we go. All right. So I'm just here for the next hour to answer any questions anybody has.
There's a few passed out puppies and a few meandering puppies around in the background. Hi, Rakshasa, and the occasional kitty. Hey, Chris, how's it going? Hi, Rakshasa. You want to be on camera? Usually. Hey, Buffy. All right. This is just an Ask Me Anything, so if anybody has any questions on their mind that they'd like to have answered, just go ahead and throw them out there in chat. And Lisa's on. There's an echo on my audio.
Okay.
Good to
know. Let me see why that's happening. I think I know why. Okay, let's see. Logitech webcam. Are you trying to pick up audio? No, yeah, there we go. Let me know if that fixes it. I think my webcam was assuming it knew better on what to do. All right. Okay, so anybody else out there? Anybody have any questions
regarding animal behavior? It doesn't just have to be about pets, but that's generally what I do nowadays. Oh my gosh, kitty. You're good. And you're good too, Mara. All right. So I was just going to do a basic. If nobody has any questions, I'll probably just go into kind of a basics of animals and behavior and all that. Unless anybody has a question right now. All right, then see how this goes. Oh my gosh, kitty. Okay. So, behavior's pretty straightforward thing, at least in my mind. It is. Hey, Grant. Liz.
What's the best way to handle a dog jumping? Okay, then. Let's go back into this. So,
The best way to handle a dog jumping is actually what we call differential reinforcement. Differential reinforcement is when you have an old behavior that you don't want. So, for example, jumping. The old school method would be what's known as extinction. Now, extinction would be just ignore the behavior and it'll go away. Don't make sure they're not getting rewarded in any way. No petting, no touching, no nothing for doing it. This causes a few problems. This is it's what's known as extinction in behavior talk, and unfortunately, I'm going to just get rid of something because it's not even. There we go. Just a second, I'm going to get back into that. I just noticed an issue. Something's supposed to be working automatically, but it's not. So maybe I'll just get rid of the fancy thing. All right. Fancy thing's going away.
All right. So okay. Let's see. We got jumping. We got comfortable in a school environment. You're not around. Okay. First, I'm going to go to the finish the jumping talk. So
the old school method with jumping is basically trying to ignore them. That causes an extinction event.
Unfortunately, the extinction events are problematic in a few different ways. What they do is the animal has already learned the behavior, so they're going to keep doing it more. And there's a thing known as an extinction burst. So when you just try to ignore it, try not to reward them for something they've already learned to get a reward, they will actually do it worse. So if they used to be rewarded for jumping because you pay attention to them, even if it's negative attention, they'll still want to do it more because dogs are very social animals. They want your attention. After that, what you need to do is the differential reinforcement. So that's why we don't do extinction. It takes a long time. They end up. Okay. And we got a barking one. I'm going to note all these down. So extinctions. If you use extinction and cause a problem, they'll keep doing it more. Think of it like an elevator button. We know logically that pushing the elevator button over and over again does not actually make the elevator go down. But at one point in time you thought it did, so you keep pushing it. It's a very hard thing to do with just extinction without just rewarding it. So what we do to stop the jumping is differential reinforcement. And actually this kind of goes into a little bit into the stop barking thing. So differential reinforcement, instead of using extinction or just yelling no, because eventually no becomes a background noise. But what we do is with differential reinforcement, we have the old behavior and we have the new behavior. And we start rewarding the old behavior, and we stop rewarding we start rewarding the new behavior, but don't reward the old behavior. Now, this is different than extinction because now we're replacing it with something else. If they do B, they'll get a reward. If they keep doing A, they won't get a reward. Eventually, what we do is B replaces A completely. That is the goal. So what the new behavior has to be is completely incompatible with the old behavior. This is where it is similar with the barking. So for example, with jumping, I always teach a dog, instead of just saying no, get off of me, I actually tell them no, sit. Because sitting is not compatible with jumping. When you start rewarding the sitting, you actually end up with the new behavior happening more often. The whole definition of reinforcement is that you're making that behavior happen more and more. So you reward the sitting over the jumping, and then eventually the dog go-to reaction is to go up and sit. Whether the reward is petting, or the reward is food, or a toy of any sort. You obviously have to work with the behavior with a good, strong reinforcer first to start replacing. Then you can start backing off on what type of reinforcer you're using. Now, barking is very similar. It's once again a differential reinforcement. It's a very tough one to get over
because usually by the time people get to me, the animal has had a very long history or long learning period with the barking. They are getting okay. And I got another question there. So let me just write these down real quick. So I got jumping. Jumping is differential reinforcement. Teach them to sit instead of jump. So basically, make sure that they are down with their feet on the ground before you pet them in a sitting posture in a nice calm way. Barking, same thing. Now, a lot of people don't realize that barking is being quiet, I should say. Most people don't realize that being quiet itself is a behavior. And a lot of people notice the actions, like when they do something, but that's just one type of behavior. Another type of behavior is when they are actually sitting there with, or actually being quiet. So with barking, a common problem that people do is go, no, stop. Well, I'd have to shut my window. Okay, so anyway, the one common problem. Also, let me know if anybody hears echoes or anything else that's going on. All right, one other common issue with the barking is that people start saying, no, don't do that, don't do that. Well, what does that sound like? No. You're yelling, you're barking at the dog. Dogs get an endorphin rush when other dogs bark. That's why they do it. One dog barks on the block, the rest are all going to start barking. So first thing you need to do if you have a dog that barks a lot, stop saying no to them or stop being loud. I'll allow one little quick nope. But nothing more. If you keep saying no, it becomes background noise. But also in this case with barking, you're actually feeding the dog to bark. You're teaching them to bark because they get an endorphin rush when the rest of the pack starts barking and you just joined in. So you first want to stop that. Then you want to start teaching the dog and marking with usually I mark with like a clicker or something along those lines. So marking is anything you do to note this behavior is exactly what you wanted. It can be a snap, it can be a bark, or not a bark. It can be good. I use that a lot. Anything that's quick, fast, and consistent. That's the big thing. That can be a marker. And then you associate it with rewards. Usually it's food, but it doesn't have to be. It can be petting or anything like that. But the thing is, the moment that dog is quiet, you reward that, because that's that differential reinforcement. Barking and being quiet are two completely opposite different things. But you need to start rewarding when they're quiet. And also, sometimes eventually what we do is we start keep rewarding for a little while as they're quiet. As the behavior becomes stronger and better, you can slow down. Still hearing an echo. Okay, good.
Thank you. That's what I need to know. Why is there an echo? All right, I'm going to unmute this to see what you're all hearing.
Rewarding for a little while as they're quiet. As the behavior becomes stronger and better, you can slow down. Still hearing an echo. Okay, good.
Thank you. That's what I need to know. Why is there an echo? All right, I'm going to unmute this to see what you're all hearing.
Rewarding for a little while as they're quiet. As the behavior becomes stronger and better, you can slow down. Still hearing an echo. Okay, good.
Thank you. That's what I need to know. Why is there an echo? All right, I'm going to unmute this to see what you're all hearing.
Rewarding for a little while as they're quiet. As the behavior becomes stronger and better, you can slow down. Still hearing an echo. Okay, good.
Thank you. That's what I need to know. Okay. Is there still an echo? There we go. How about this? And then, actually, I think I see. There we go. Let's see if that fixes it. Hopefully that fixes it. We'll see. Much better? Okay. Good. Excellent. I don't know which device. I think I know what happened. Okay. I think the camera and the microphone were both trying to do the same thing at the same time, even though one was told not to do anything. Hooray, technology. Okay. Where was I? I was talking about the barking. Don't bark, but reward. So the moment the dog is quiet, you want to mark and reward that. They will be quiet at some point in time because every animal has to breathe. So you wait. Because every animal has to breathe. So you wait. Because every animal has to breathe. So you wait. Okay, let me know if this is working any better. It was gone, and then I adjusted one more thing, huh? Because there's a slight delay. Okay, we're good now? All right. We're just going to let the camera do what it wants at this point in time. Because, yeah. Okay. Let's try this again. All right. Okay, so where was I? All right, so the dog barking. Just mark as soon as the dog is quiet. The dog will get quiet because they have to breathe. Every animal has to breathe. And when that moment of breath comes, you click. But you have to be very on time. It's going to be very frustrating. You're going to have to be right on time. And then when the dog is quiet for about a second or two, you click again and keep rewarding that way. And then eventually you are rewarding the quiet instead of rewarding the noise or the barking behavior itself. So that's what you do. You wait till you start using. You need to have some type of marker because the marker, these clickers, the good, the very fast good sounds, those mark the exact moment that the dog did what you wanted, and that's going to make their brain start going, "What did I just do to get that reward, that treat?" And that's why this can be such a powerful tool for the barking. All right, what else did we have? I had my notes, started them, and then the chaos started happening with that. Let's see. Let's just go back through the thing. All right. It is. Okay, Lex and Tux. Okay, Lex and Tux. Questions on regarding how to make them comfortable. For with regards to when you're not there. that is going to be tough. The best way to do that, for those that don't know, Lex and Tux are actually therapy dogs that I have trained to work in the school districts here in Garden City, Kansas. Lex and Tux, they work very well, but when mom's not around, it sounds like they're starting to get a little nervous. The best way we can do that is actually slowly teach them more and more with other people. So we already have one other teacher who works with Tux quite a bit. But it sounds like Lex might actually be more inclined. But basically, that's just going to take time and training. You're going to have to go in with another teacher and also train them how to train them and work with them, and then slowly extend the time that you're not there. And when you leave, try to get rid of what we call antecedents, things leading up to you leaving, because those will start getting them verklempt. That's also why a lot of dogs have like separation anxiety. It's not just because you're leaving, but it's because we have a routine before we leave. So they start going, oh God, they're leaving. Oh God, they're leaving. About a half hour before you go, and they look calm, but they're already getting upset by the whole procedure. So really the thing is slowly train the other person and then give them longer and longer times where you're not there. Start them off small. Don't jump big. Just extend the time of them being not there. All right. Then we got loud noises. Let's see. We did jumping, barking, Lex and Tux, the therapy dogs, with their, basically we're just trying to increase their confidence without mom there. All right, so scared of noises. Actually, I suggest going through my videos. I have them on YouTube and on Facebook. There is one that says fireworks, and in there I describe in depth, but I'll describe again here a little bit on what we do. So actually, let's see if I can get a dog in here. Do they all go to the bathroom? Grey Wind, Namera. Oh, there's a Grey Wind. Hey, buddy. Hey, Target. Good boy. So, I'm going to show you what to do with loud noises. Grey Wind, hi, buddy. What's in there? What's in there? Good. Good boy. Okay, so for loud noises, what you do is you actually start marking them with positive noises. And then when the bad sound comes, am I going to have to log in here to do this? Mary, you're not afraid of bad noises. Yes, but I would like a treat, please. All right, Oscar. There we go. So now I'm just rewarding them for coming in. Okay. How about we just bring Grey Wind in here and I'll show you the practice on this. All right, everybody out. All right. Come on, guys. Oh, dog not here. Come on, Grey Wind. Good boy. Come on. Grey Wind. Good. All right. I'll keep you in here too, Oscar. You're less trained on that. There we go. Okay. So, for the loud noises, what you need to do is, I got a big metal thing, so you guys are going to hear some noises here. I'm just going to bang on it, and it's actually how they train dogs to get used to things like gun noises. What you do is you just make random noises, and then you make a marker right after. Good boy, Oscar. So basically, they hear loud noise, and then they hear the marker, and slowly they become more and more okay with it. I'm going to watch. It's okay. Yeah. But that's the basic gist of what you do with a loud noise situation. You just create the loud noises. And the thing is, you also... Hello, Vera. Hello. Everybody. It's actually got a pretty good crowd tonight. So what we do is we just do some loud noises, hit random things, and then we could create a positive reinforcement. Hi, buddy. It's okay. There you go, buddy.
Good boy. Now, the thing to do, one thing you watch out for, though, is that your dog is getting overstimulated. Because if you are, yes, I know, Graywin's getting a little overstimulated, so we're going to let him out. Oscar was getting better throughout that process, but one thing you got to watch out for is a dog getting overstimulated. If they are overstimulated, then you're just creating, you could potentially be running into the PTSD situation. So watch your dog's antecedents. If they're cowering in a corner while you're doing this practice, stop. Just start small and go bigger. So maybe smaller noises and then bigger noises later on. Okay, just a second. I'm going to... Okay, so you start off small, get big. If your dog is obviously showing signs of high stress, for example, actually, when I was doing that exercise, Graywin went underneath the table. He thought he was okay with 1 or 2, but he got a little overstimulated with the rest. Oscar, he was fine, just sitting right here, just ready to get more and more treats. So you need to make sure you're kind of walking that line. If somebody has arachnophobia, you don't just throw a tarantula on them on day 1 of desensitizing them. First, they see pictures, then they see videos, then they see toys of spiders, and then they see one in a cage, and then maybe they'll make it up to the point where they can actually have one on them. Now, so I hope that answers the questions with dogs and loud noises. Let's see here. Okay, we got that. Okay, regarding jumping, what would be your advice to pet sitters who have a dog that is a jumper and are unable to work with the dog on a regular basis? That's actually, and yes, somebody just before I move on to that, somebody just asked, does the marking and rewarding include thunder and fireworks? Yes, it does. But the problem is you can control those less. But you can thank you, Chris. So you can control those less. So it's going to be a tougher environment for dogs that have a fear of those types of things. Things I always point out: don't have the kennel for a dog that's afraid of fireworks and storms on an exterior wall. If it's an exterior wall, they can hear that noise very easily. Also, another spot that I find people put their kennels for their dogs in a bad spot is right next to a chimney, especially dogs that don't like storms, because that chimney is a giant high-pitched whistle. You might only hear it every so often, but it is a very high pitch. Some of the noise, some whistles obviously are in the realm of hearing that we can't hear. So if you put the kennel of a dog who's afraid of those loud noises right next to a chimney, you're literally putting them underneath the giant whistle device that the storm is creating. So avoid that. Also, if you can get an insulated kennel, you can build them yourselves. You can buy some. There's a super high-tech one that somebody pointed out to me the other day that is not just a insulated kennel, but it also creates a white noise, which obviously the dog's going to have to get used to that white noise before they're going to be comfortable in that kennel as well. All right. So for a dog that is jumping, the easiest thing to do, honestly, is is to bring the treats with you. Treats that obviously the dog are okay with. Most dogs are fine with most treats, but every so often you have a client with an allergy. Check on that. Check what you can give them. But the thing is, you walk in and then you throw the treat. This is for a very specific reason. Not only is the behavior itself important, but where the treat is given is also important. I can go back to the jumping discussion. For example, when I give treats, anybody want a treat? Is Xanadu outside? Is that why you're outside? I'm going to do a demo. Numera, Oscar. All right. For some odd reason, the pups don't want to be in here. Come here, Oscar. Yeah. Oh, Numera's coming. Okay. Now, Numera's not a jumper anyway. She's old bones. But another way to prevent a dog from jumping up at you is how you give the treat. So I always say, I'm saying if you're coming into a house and the dog is jumping up at you, just toss the treat away, because then the dog will expect the treat on the other side away from you and be less likely to jump. The other thing is, Namara, sorry, I'm taking too long, huh? Is put the treat low. When you feed a dog this way, they become anticipatory, and in fact, Namara wants to actually take the treat from up here, but she is too old to jump. You can kind of see the excitement in her face because it's slowly going towards them. But if you consistently feed them down low, then they expect it low. If they expect it high, that's going to make them jump more often. If they expect it low, then they're going to be less likely to jump. So if you do not own the dog, but you are working with a client's dog that you go to visit the house, you can either toss the treat away from you, and then they become expectant of the treat, not at you, but distance, or drop the treat on the floor. Because if you drop it on the floor, that still is not up. So you're actually creating a behavior to go down just based on where that treat is located. Okay. When working with a 3-month-old puppy, how do we get them to stop biting? Okay, there's a number of different things. This is a lot of replacement behavior. So what you're going to do is, as soon as they nip or bite you, disengage, because they are naturally playing. It's a natural thing that puppies do. I might have to go get water here in just a second. Been talking for 30 minutes straight, and apparently my throat is going dry. It is a very okay. Vera's answering another question. I would get I'll go back to Vera's question after we get with this puppy biting. So the puppy bites, you want to act like you're in pain, like ow, because the puppy doesn't want to hurt you. The puppy's just playing, and other puppies have fur that protects their body. We don't. So you want to disengage, but you don't just want to stop there. You also want to give them something that is appropriate. And then you keep playing with them with, say, the tug toy. That when you play with the tug toy, you are showing them an appropriate thing to play with. I always say, always, always, always have a toy in between them. Okay, on the walking on the leash thing, okay, I'll note that. Always have something in between you and the puppy. If the puppy is chewing on you, they're learning to do that because they are enjoying it. If anytime there's an endorphin rush in their head, i.e. they liked something, they will continue to do it more. That's the whole idea of reinforcement. Reinforcer is anything that makes a behavior happen more often. I need to get... Okay. I'll talk about that. All right. So... Okay. And back to lots of noises. Okay, all right. So whenever the puppy starts biting you, disengage. Make sure the puppy is not engaging in that biting behavior, and then give them something more appropriate to play with. It's going to take time. Puppies are very tiny little babies. They've been on the planet for very little amount of time, and their instinct is to chew and bite on everything. Honestly, toddlers are the same way, though it's very similar in that respect. So basically just disengage and redirect, and be super happy when they are actually playing with a toy. And when they bring you a toy, play with them, because that is going to keep reinforcing them for that behavior. I also got asked back to the noises thing. Okay, so one, a dog is never kennelled. That's fine as long as they're not destroying stuff around the house. Sometimes I kennel them just for their own safety, because if a dog ingests 3/4 of a wall, that's not going to be good on their stomach. So I will kennel them if they are having those types of issues. But also, I like to still have a kennel around, even if they don't ever actually get locked in there, to create a safe environment for a dog that doesn't like loud noises. If you don't have a kennel for them, maybe have a spot in a closet or under the bed that they can go to, that they feel more comfortable. The thing is, it needs to be insulated from noise. It needs to be insulated from noise, and they need to be comfortable in it. So never use it for punishment or anything like that. Okay, I'm going to go get a quick drink of water, and I'll be right back. And then I'll answer the next questions down the list. Okay, there we go. So, okay, so somebody also asked about regular noises. That and the method I mentioned on reinforcing whenever they hear something scary still works for everyday noises. It's just that those noises that you are doing are the noises that you're rewarding for are those natural, normal noises that you hear. So if anytime you see your dog get a little flinchy because of a noise, click, reward, click, reward. Okay. Leash walking. Okay, so for leash walking, what we do is we, since that's, okay, so for leash walking, what we do is I teach a few things first, because usually we want to have a couple other things. First, I teach targeting, which is anytime you get a dog or animal. Pups, what are you guys doing? Greywind. Hi, buddy. Oh, Namara's here. Namara's like, I'm fine with this. Anyway, targeting is anytime you get an animal to touch a body part to something. For dogs, I teach them all to target with their nose to my hand. It becomes a very easy way to direct them. Huh, baby? Yes, you're very old. And it becomes a very easy way to direct them into a direction that you need them to go. So what I do is I try to get a dog's attention when they're walking. So what we do is we walk, and whenever the dog pulls, I actually just stop. And I start with that targeting behavior, and here you're going to find out why I need the target. So we stop, and then after we stop, I give the dog a second or so, and if they even glance back at me, then I click and reward. And I reward not by tossing the treat to them, but they have to come back to me to receive the reward. The reason for this is that I'm teaching them to do what's called a check-in. Now, things to avoid are yanking on the leash, because I'm trying to get the whole process of the leash tension to turn into a cue or a command in itself, and that is to check back. So they stop, they check back. Why did the human stop? Oh, click. Oh, a reward. So eventually, every time they hit any amount of pressure, they just turn, and then they turn, and they'll come back to you. So that's what we do. The reason you don't want to jerk is you want the dog to have control of how much tension they feel. So that way, when they do release the pressure, they know that feeling, and that's part of the whole command process for them. Second, if you push or pull, what's going to happen with any entity? What's that entity going to do? If you do it to somebody, you push them, they're going to instinctively push back with their body. So if you yank, the dog will yank away. So that's why I avoid yanking, and we just do this click reward system. If they don't turn, that's why I have the target. So I've already trained the target. They always look for the target. Excuse me, when they are doing that. Now, Mike asked, actually, Mike put a quick survey in here.
So Mike, once upon a time, asked me about shirts for my business to sell to the public, and how many people would be interested in buying something like that. Just basically just BB behaviors and just maybe proud clients or anything like that. And I might just have to design them still, which is what the delay is. Okay, so let's see. I talked a little bit about the noises again. I got the leash. Let's see what I've missed. My dog goes nuts when she's out with me and sees other dogs. She's very friendly, but the jumping and barking scares owner. Yep, and timid people. Yeah, is friendly, but the meet and greet. Okay, so yeah, no, and this is a very common issue. In fact, I'm doing this with my youngest dog right now because he's also his is a little bit more aggressive, but overall, it's just that he's over dramatic when he meets new dogs. So that's actually another reason why I go back to the target. So first, we're going to use distance as our friend and not just jump up to other dogs. Obviously, on some walks, they're going to be closer and you can't control that because there's a street or a wall or whatever. But I'd say go someplace where you can actually get away from them if you need to, and you control the distance. Reinforcement is like gravity. When you're close to the closer the dog is to the reinforcer, the stronger that behavior is going to be. If the reinforcer is another dog, then you need to be farther away, and then your reinforcers, which are in your hand and closer, become more powerful. And you're going to work on marking, and you can teach two things. You can teach the dog to look at you, like just say its name and say, watch me, or something like that, where they turn and look at you instead of the other dog. And every time they look at the other dog and then look at you, click reward, click reward, click reward. Because that way, what you're doing is saying, hey, this is okay. You don't have to freak out about it. And slowly, over time, what you do is you reduce that distance between you and the other issues, the dogs or people, if your dog's reacting on the walks that way. Over time, you slowly reduce that distance. Also, you might have to increase what we call the rate of reinforcement, i.e. how often you're given the treat. And you don't have to feed them from hand. You can toss them on the ground. And sometimes, depending on the client, depending on the dog, I will throw them on the ground because that way it makes them search for it a little bit more. And it takes up a little bit more of that time. Let's see here. I think that covers the reactivity. I also have some videos in here. Let's see which video it is. There's one about reactivity. There's aggressive dog walks and things like that that I would suggest looking for, where I teach some clients. I do exactly what I just kind of described there, where I teach the dogs to be okay with strangers. Let's see if I can find one. Where is it? Oh, can't find it quickly, so we'll just have to keep looking for it. I'd say go back in my videos. There is some discussing dogs and aggression on walks. Here it is. Dog aggression is a serious problem. Yeah. So look for that video in the Facebook, and that also kind of covers it. This one's an aggressive one, but really it's the same process. It's just to a different degree. All right. Normal noises, talked about that. 5-year-old Australian Shepherd that is aggressive towards everyone that comes to your house. How do I break this? Okay, this one is very difficult and takes a little time. But once again, I would actually put the pup on a leash just for safety's sake. There is an issue with what's known as leash aggression. All the shirts. Okay. So what you would do, there's a few different things you can do. So this dog is aggressive towards people. So what I would do is I would actually have them be treat givers, but you can't just expect the dog to accept a treat from a stranger. It does, and you actually can set up a dog for an issue with that when you're just like, here, give this treat to my dog. Well, the dog's upset for whatever reason, but he wants a treat. And going closer to that treat doesn't get rid of why he's upset. And if that person flinches in the wrong way, that might cause an issue. So what I do is I'll actually put a bowl in the middle of the room, and when the person's there and the dog goes into a calm state, the person tosses a treat into that bowl. The guest does. The reason for this is then the guest is not what the dog has to approach to get the reward, but they still are associating that the reward appeared from the guest. So over time, you can get them more and more used to guests. In this way, this is just a one little game technique. Although there's the issue with aggression and dogs not liking people in the house can be from a number of different reasons. So this is just one little exercise that I'm describing. I prefer to actually see the whole behavior or see a little bit more about what's going on in the house, to see more with the dog's personality, because there's a lot of what we call antecedents, things that lead up to the behavior happening that it's just difficult to just say right off the bat about that. Okay. How do you build a cat's confidence? The cat in our house that gets bullied often acts like she's afraid other cats don't lash out until she does that. Sometimes they even cuddle, but then for some reason she will act afraid and run away, and they'll chase her. Okay. Now there's one very big factor with cats especially, but any of these animals. So I often hear a lot of times like the other animal's not doing anything. The other animal's not really doing anything that you see. Pheromones emission is a thing though. So she might be coming in and that cat is putting out basically pheromones that say back off, and now she's tense because of what she smelled. You as the human do not detect that. But that other cat's language via pheromone is now saying, get any closer and I'm going to kick your butt. And now she's on edge, and then the cat reacts to the movement, and etc. So basically, actually, Maddie, I think we worked on one cat before. Is this put it in the chat if this is the same cat we worked on before regarding the bully, or if this is a new cat. I think you mentioned this in passing once upon a time with me. Okay, so basically what I would do is I would actually clicker train that cat to get closer, and every time it gets a little closer, but you'd click reward, and that would increase the confidence of the cat. But the thing is, this is a very nuanced thing that you'd have to play with, because if you accidentally create a PTSD moment, not the same cat, different one. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought you said the one that we did work with, it was fine. Now it's the new kitty. Because it could just be her own nervousness about the situation. It also could be that the other cats are sending out pheromones. With cats, sometimes I do suggest those pheromone emitters to just create a more calming environment. I would also click and reward when she gets closer to the other cats, but not too close. You'd have to do this in a very slow way, because what you don't want to have happen is every time you do this exercise, she ends up getting chased, and then she'll just create what's known as a poison cue to the whole training behavior. Like, oh, no, I don't want to do that game again. That sucked. They came after me. So that's where I would kind of go with that, is I would slowly reward her for approaching other cats. Problem is, I don't know if the other cats will come up and also take the food, so we might have to nuance how that process works for that cat. Sounds like lots of people want the shirts. And yes, Cammie, we can definitely schedule a time. Just get with me. Any other questions? We still have like 13 more minutes or so. There's a slight delay, so this always causes a slight interesting quiet moments. I think I got every question. If I have missed any questions, let me know. Okay, 3, 2, 1 with Jane. Keep moving. Yes, and actually, just walked Jane today. So with that, okay, and I'll get to Hannah's question with regards to the reward and bridge eventually. All right, the first Jane, I actually experienced that today with Jane when I was walking her. I do offer walking services. A number of my clients, particularly those that have had either issues like their dogs are afraid of certain things or they just don't do well at the vets or when being kenneled. Um, uh, so for Jane, the 3, 2, 1 is what you kind of have to do. In this case, you're also going to need to do a little bit of consistent. Just I wouldn't say try not to yank, but what you do is you just slowly walk away. So you say 3, 2, 1, let's go, and then you just slowly pull her. And she is a very powerful pup, so it could take all of your body weight. But the thing is, you got to do it in a slow, consistent manner so that you're not just yanking her over towards you, but just letting her know we are going. And then as soon as she does finally go, even if it's like a foot away from the smell that you wanted, still click and reward. Don't not reward for the behavior you want. Always reward for the behavior you want. So that is so yeah. We can go over to make some nuances or slight shifts to that. Now that because I did experience that today with Jane, that she is still very specific spots. Like most of the time, it would be 3, 2, 1, let's go, and she continues walking. Which I didn't mention that with the loose lead walking. I usually give when they are sniffing something, I give them 3, 2, 1, let's go to give them a heads up we're about to leave, and then they figure out, oh, this is all following in order. Okay, do I ever recommend removing the reward and the bridge eventually? So, this goes into the science of it, and the science says reputedly no. If you, here's how some people like to describe it as the reward system is more like drugs, but that's not exactly what it is. Because drugs are something you absolutely need to survive eventually because you're addicted. That's not what these treats and these rewards are. What it more like is a paycheck. And a paycheck, if a paycheck stops, are you going to go into work? No. What you can do over time is you can randomize when the rewards happen a little bit more. You can reduce the rate of reinforcement, i.e. you reward every so often. But if you completely and utterly get rid of the reward and bridge system, you will always, always, always revert back to previous behaviors, or the dog will, I shouldn't say revert back, but the dog or any animal will diverge and start doing their own thing because they're getting reinforcements from something. And if you stop providing them, they will find them somewhere else. Now, with regards to punishment versus using the reward system, they did a test and they did find that the reward system does have a locked-in greater memory. They trained all the sets of dogs to do a task in a lab, something they'll never have to do outside the lab. One half were taught with positive reinforcement, one half were taught with traditional punishment-based methods. And they came back 3 years later. The dogs had never been trained again. The ones that were positively reinforced remembered, oh yeah, this is how that went, and they all almost 100% got the whatever it is they were trying to do in the lab, but almost 100% failed from the punishment based because the brain loves to remember where food and rewards are. The brain just gets away from things quick that are not. Okay, what is I'm going to say that Silade, the kitty. What's that kitty's name? She's 18. Getting rid of the reward for noise situations from Hannah. So Megan, get back to me on. You're talking about the kitty, I'm assuming. Yeah. So cats, especially elderly cats, are very tough to get to eat. I would say just experiment around, get creative. Just make sure that there's lots of meat. Particularly older cats, make sure there's lots of fluid. So you might have to switch to wet foods. Um, and also check her teeth. If her teeth are not as good, then that might reduce how much they want to eat. It also could be internal uncomfort or discomfort from uh, making up words here. It could be internal discomfort as to why she's not eating. If she's 18, she might just not, her metabolism might be just a lot slower and just doesn't need to eat that much. There's a lot of different factors. I would definitely say check with your vet and also experiment. Put lots of different foods out and see which one she goes to. So the situation with noises about fear, if the animal is no longer showing any stress factors to the noise, then it is perfectly fine to remove that. If the animal is still showing that they are stressed out by the noises, then you want to. Kaylee's the pronunciation on the kitty. If the animal is showing any amount of stress to the noises, then you'll want to keep reinforcing. It depends on how ingrained it is. Some people, I give the example of how people get rid of arachnophobia. Well, the thing is, deep-rooted fear, especially to PTSD, is not. It's not easy to get rid of, and a lot of times, like with mental diseases, it won't go away. So if the animal has a full phobia, you might have to continue reinforcing for the rest of the days. And food does not have to be the reward, right? That is correct. Food does not have to be the reward. It can be love. It can be attention. It can be their favorite toy. In fact, a lot of dogs will be trained, particularly police dogs. Ah, good. Zandu! Zandu! See if she'll come. Zandu! Zandu! Zandu, come on. Zandu. Don't get it. Come on, Zandu. So, for example, let's shut the door here. Hi. Okay, let's get this so that we can actually see Xanadu. So, she's very ball driven. Hi, what's up? Can you see it? Good girl. Oh, you didn't go for the ball. There it is. You going for it? Oh, you're getting free treats. Where's the ball? Where's the ball? Good girl. Yeah, good girl. So just her having the ball can also be the reward that she wants, right? Hi. Yes, you're nervous today. I don't get locked in the bedroom here. I don't know why. Sit. Good. Yeah. There it is. So a toy can be a reward as well. It doesn't always have to be the food. A lot of the police dogs and things of that nature, they actually use the police dogs and such. They use toys as the reinforcer. The main thing is the reward is chosen by the dog, not you. Every animal has its own preferences and dislikes. And also, some are, I call them costly dogs. Some dogs are like, I don't want just this treat. I want ham and turkey, and that's it. The level of the reinforcer also has to be where the dog is to get them to work for you. All right. Anybody else have any last questions? We're about approaching the end of the live feed. Also, let me know if guys would like me to do this more regularly. Like, I don't know, maybe once a month or something along those lines. Excellent. And now that we got I'll try to work on some of those glitches. Of course, the echoey glitches at the beginning did not show up in the tests I did the past couple days. Excellent. What's your question, Meredith? Okay, maybe I'll try to start doing this on a monthly basis on a regular. Sounds like everybody's enjoying this, and actually it was way more. I was expecting to be here alone for maybe an hour, but everybody showed very much interest in this. My dog busts through kennels and ate his way out of the laundry room. Okay, you got separation anxiety possibly. What can I do to make him like his kennel? Okay, first of all, I always ask what kind of kennel. My least favorite kind of kennel is the number one that people use, which is those wire mesh kennels. Wire mesh can be fine, but they're also the easiest thing for an animal to get out of. They are not as sturdy, especially if you don't zip tie throughout, and I mean zip tie every single spot. Like there'd have to be like hundreds of zip ties. And honestly, when I actually was trained to do, haven't had to be deployed yet, but I'm on the Kansas Animal Rescue thing. So basically, what happens is a natural disaster happens. People, not only humans, need to be taken care of, but they need to find a place for their dogs. So we set up the dog care facility as close to the human care facility as possible, or the pet care facility, I should say. But what we do is we zip tie everything. We do use wire kennels for that because they're collapsible, but we put so many zip ties on like there's hundreds upon hundreds of zip ties for one kennel just to make sure that those metal kennels stay put. I prefer the Sky kennels, but even those a dog can get out of. For example, that one I brought out earlier with the ball, Xanadu, she's notorious. She's a very intelligent dog, and she's figured out how to pop springs and things like that. So she'd actually get shackled into her kennel while we were gone. And the shackle had to be the correct way, because if we put it the wrong way, she would drool on it and create lubricant and make the screw fall out. We've used wire and plastic enclosed. Okay, you have used plastic enclosed. She's probably figured out, though there's still a couple tricks. What I normally do, even with the plastic enclosed, I would actually, is she eating through the side, or is she destroying the door to get out, or is she eating around the door? So I would probably go back to the wire mesh with that one. But basically, you're going to need to train her to be in the kennel for small periods of time. So put her in there for 5 minutes, reward while she goes in, bust it through the front door. Okay, that one's actually the easy fix with the plastic ones, because if they bust through the front door, what you do is you end up putting shackles. You either have to drill extra holes and put like actual metal shackles to hold the door in, and then that usually works very well to keep them in after that. Otherwise, you can go into much more expensive kennels, which are usually $200 to $500 a kennel. Those tend to be the police grade ones that keep them super safe and well in there. But first thing is, though, you need to get the dog used to and okay with the kennel. There's a number of things to do that. First, you train them to go into the kennel, but don't shut the door on them. Then eventually you train them to go in. You shut the door, but don't latch the door so they can push it out and let them be confident that way. Then eventually shut the door. Then leave them in for 1 minute. Let them out, reward them, do that. Then do up to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I always suggest doing this early on, because if they get learned behavior of getting out, or a learned behavior of, oh my God, this is happening. If this is, I don't know for sure if this is related to separation anxiety type situation, or it's just, I don't like being in the kennel. So you try to make that as positive as possible. Now, so you want to slowly add time. If there's already a PTSD thing associated with the
separation anxiety, then you're going to, and unfortunately, there's going to be a long haul and a lot of little changes we need to do. One thing I would also suggest is make sure you're not doing the same thing. If this is separation anxiety, don't do the same thing before you leave. We all are creatures of habit, and dogs start freaking out long before we leave. For example, looking for your coats, getting your keys, where checking your phone. The dog is noticing that, and the dog is starting to freak out if they have separation anxiety. If we go outside with could be, it sounds like it could be separation anxiety. It's either that or boredom, but I'm guessing it's if he's doing it by the location where you left, then it's most likely separation anxiety. Um, so you want to do that, then you leave for just like a few minutes at a time, come back. You're going to have to do these exercises pretty regularly. Even I know people who even with their when they're working through separation anxiety cases, they'll have people actually fully geared up in their winter parkas, sitting in front of the TV because putting on the parka and all that is what leads the dog to get more stressed out. So basically, you try to break up those, get rid of those antecedent fears, and then eventually you have to add slowly with time. Problem is, most life does not allow us to do the slow thing that the dog needs. So we need to come up first with a kennel that is functional and will keep the dog inside and safe during that time. Uh, Usually, separation anxiety cases are actually some of the tougher ones. It's usually aggression and separation anxiety that are the tougher ones to pinpoint because also, as I said earlier, somebody had an aggression issue with the dog in the house with strangers, and until I see the antecedents or know for sure, and while I do ask lots of questions from my clients, I'm trained and experienced with seeing what to look for. Most people aren't, and a lot of times people will miss something that is actually important that they don't think is important. So that's why a lot of times I like to just have eyes on location, eyes on site. That's why I much prefer training dogs one on one at their home. There's just a much higher success rate. A lot of times you can catch little nuances that are happening at home that people, human side, don't think is a big deal, but from the dog side is. So really, we need to identify some of those antecedents, make sure that those antecedents, those things that the dog's triggering on, are not an issue, and then kind of go from there. How old is your pup, Meredith? And hopefully, sometimes these things also just grow out. Basically, what we're kind of the separation anxiety is also similar to the fear factor. And sometimes I kennel to teach the dog that it's okay. I will kennel them with the people in the house for small periods of time while the people are consistently rewarding them. Now, if the dog is not eating the reward, okay, so it is a puppy. Oh, so that's actually easily fixed. Okay, this could just be simple puppy separation issues. Because remember, puppies, their instinct is to be by mom and dad a lot. And then you're about to hit the teenage phase, which is around 9 months to 12 months. And then they're going to be on that's when they want to start separating and be more exploratory on their own. But trying to think, yeah, I would slowly add time to the puppy, and also try to make sure that if you're using the metal wire, make sure you zip tie everything and also shackle the door so that he can't just pop the door open fairly easily or bend the wires in a way that's lets him out. And if you use the plastic kennel, then I would make sure that the latches are fully formed, fully good, and also shackle because sometimes there's already holes for you to do that because a lot of those are sky kennels, which are meant for shipping on planes. In fact, they're the only things that airlines will accept because of the low rate of escape and also the sturdiness in case luggage does fall on it, it will hold. But there's usually little holes where if we're shipping, we have to zip tie them. Back in my zoo days, that's what we had to do. If any animal was getting shipped somewhere, it'd have to be not only secured but also doubly and triply secured, and you might have to do that I suggest shackles because those are reusable and you can do it over and over again. But generally, it's mark. That's why I do a lot of the clicker training, because then you can mark the exact moment that the dog is doing something right, which could be just I'm chilling in a kennel. Good, click, mark that, do that, hit that emotional state more often. All right. Well, it's past the 9 o'clock time, but if anybody has any last questions, let me know. And it sounds like this is really popular, so I will try to do this I'm going to shoot for once a month at least, if not, I think once a month is probably a good amount. All right, good. Just wait a few more seconds because of this delay on my end. Hi, Rocks. Normally I have more animals in here. Wonder where they're all at. They're all nervous about something. Oh, Greywind didn't like the noise game earlier, that's for sure. Yes. For dogs that pull, what I teach them is actually to check in. So once they hit the end of the leash, I actually stop. I don't pull them, but I just stop where I am. And then I try to get their attention. Either I will do a target behavior where they touch their hand to my hand or their nose to my hand, or at least they look back. So I might go or say their name. And then once they start looking back, I will click and then I will mark that and then give them a treat if they'll come back for the treat. Sometimes, though, when we're walking, actually moving is the reward for the dog. Depends on the dog. They just want to keep moving. But as long as they have some correlation to that, then usually that goes very well. Usually within a week of practicing that, most dogs are pretty well. They might still go out ahead, but they stop pulling because they feel that tension and then go, wait, I need to check in. And then they look back to see what the owner is doing. So that's what I work for on is doing a check-in. I'm actually hoping to put out a leash walking video soon. Problem is I can't hold the video camera myself, so I need to correlate it with somebody who is going to be there. So keep a lookout for that coming in the future. All right. Looks like that is one more question. Anybody? And we'll call it. All right. Thanks, everybody, for stop moving, wait for him to look back, and give him a reward. Correct. That's exactly it. As soon as they look back at you, that's when you want to say good or click if you have a clicker and mark that moment of looking back. And then, of course, they have to come to you for the reward. And honestly, when you first start teaching it, you're going to not be going fast or far because you're going to stop, reward. Okay, walk 2 more steps, stop, reward. But really, within a week, they get it. So usually, when I'm telling people to do this, I tell them walk for time, not distance, because you're not going to go farther first while the dog's figuring this process out. And then usually, I do a 3, 2, 1 warning. Let's go. To let them know we're about to go. And anytime they do something you want, whether it's moving forward or stopping and checking in with you, that's when you want to click and reward. And also there's a process to teach them how to get around you because sometimes they wrap you up and then they get confused. So yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for visiting. Sounds like some people would like those shirts. So I should get to designing and get those out when I can. They'll probably be through some. There's a few different organizations that I don't have to end up buying in bulk, etc. No problem. And thanks for everybody for coming out. And I will try to start doing this maybe monthly. Maybe I'll pick one day of the week and just do it every time. Just send reminders out. All right. Y'all have a good one.